Hey, good afternoon, my next gen millionaires. How you doing? Oh, so this week, sorry, pause, trying to collect my thoughts here for a second. It's been just wonderful days, like so many conversations today, so much goodness. As I was looking to say, hey, what do I want to talk about this week? In this video, I want to talk about what expectations do we have for our money, right? And anybody who's followed me for any amount of time know I love talking expectations and goals, and expectations are one of the three evil X's. And it's so interesting. So today I was having a conversation with Debbie, and she had this aha realization moment, and it made me start to think a little bit. And it's kind of a new side of expectation that I didn't, I probably talked about before, but usually I think of expectations for your money and the way we approach expectations, right? Is like we have what I would like to call a goal instead, and then we work towards that goal. Some people are like, "Oh, I have to make this much," or in my business, or I have to charge this much, or we have some idea or expectation. We place that on the money that it has to perform a certain way. And so, as I've always looked at expectations, I've always looked at them as performance based. It has to do this, right? And probably a lot of that's coming from my experience in the corporate world. That's how the corporate world is usually structured, right? The expectation, right? They really have an expectation of performance, and if you don't perform, then it negatively impacts your money, like what you get in raise or bonus or any of those things. If you meet that expectation, right, and that expectation is rarely met. I've worked at plenty of companies where they do like a 5-star rating, and like nobody gets fives. Like if you get a five, then you're like perfect, and that's like not possible. And they put these weird rules around it. Anyways, that's outside this topic. But it's usually performance based. But in talking to Debbie today, one thing that I started thinking about, right, when it comes to the expectations is expectations when we put a role around money, right? What role does money play in our lives? And let me talk about this a little bit because it was a very fascinating conversation we had. So in our married life, for the most part, any money Debbie's ever brought in has been what she always labels as play money, right? And when she labels play money, that means money she can, right? And I said this, she can go on vacations with, or she can use to buy courses or whatever, right? Whatever she wants to do. We've always had combined income, like a combined bank account. But when she looks at the money itself, right, she's placed an expectation that hers should be fun money, right? And it's not just her going out. So before anybody starts to think, oh, you guys all know Debbie, right? It's I'm always included in those fun things as well. But it's the expectation that she put around actually like what the money or income that she has coming in is to be used for. So there was a period of time where her company was doing much better than mine. When I made that transition from corporate into entrepreneurship full time. And she got in her mind like now she's a breadwinner, right? She's the traditional breadwinner, and she took on that role. But she also placed that expectation on her money. So now her money has to be, right? The money she's generating has to be the responsible money, as she put it. And we're having this conversation today. I'm like, that's so fascinating that because her idea of that role for her money, that expectation shifted, then there's a lot more pressure because now she feels like she's got to pay the bills or she's got to do X, Y, Z with the money, right? She's buying into an old story that says that she has to allocate her money for very specific things. And then in doing so, that she can't have the things she wants. Now, piled on top of that for the last year, right, we've been in a pandemic and not much travel, which she loves to do. And a lot of social distancing and businesses closed down. So this exacerbated the problem because now there's not even any fun we can go spend anything on. Right. So that's the frame of the conversation. And so I posed an interesting question. I posed the same thing to you. So as you're looking at your money and as you're looking at what it is that you have allocated for, at least allocated in your brain. Now, if you do a budget, that's cool. But really look at it. Do you have his and her money? Right? I know a lot of couples that still do that and they pay bills and one pays the other so they can pay bills or whatnot. I'm not saying either way is good or in this video, right? We can talk about those different things in different areas. But I want you to think about that. What expectations have you placed on your money? What are you asking it to what are you asking it to do that's kind of unfair? Because anytime we place an expectation on something, it's really unfair to the other party. Because we're looking at that party saying, this is the best case scenario in the best light that you can do, and that's what I expect from you. That's the performance I want. Back to the corporate world, they want the best bang for their buck. So whatever they're paying you, they're going to expect like 3-4 times more out of it, because what they're paying you. Remember, we get trapped in this weird place. So we're going to pass that on. So if you look at your money, right, what unfair expectation have you placed on this stuff? Think about that for a second. What's the role that it must play? Is it as Debbie places it, the responsible money? Have you placed the responsibility upon it that if it doesn't show up, then you can't pay your bills? Have you placed upon it, like she does, like this is the fun money, so any money that comes in from that's just fun. I can go have fun, but if it doesn't come in, then I can't have fun? Is it the protector that as long as I have money, then nobody can harm me, but if I don't, then I'm going to be harmed? Right? There's lots of different personalities that we can give to money. There's lots of different expectations we can put on it. So again, my question is, what have you placed on money? What expectation, what role have you placed on it? Okay? If you want to pause the video, if you're not live, then do that. Go figure it out. It's a good question. Because most of you probably just said, oh, that's a good question. What have I done? Yeah, take like the next 30 seconds to figure it out. Because there's a lot of power in that. Because when we understand what expectations we place, first we can drop the expectations. But second is most important is like, what's the opposite of what we placed on it? For Debbie, hers was the responsible money, but really she wanted to play her fun money. And I asked her, right, at the end of our conversation, I looked at her and said, so even though, like, she explained that, like, you know, I want to travel with, I wanted to be able to buy patio furniture, I wanted to do a manicure, like, all this stuff. And I looked at her and said, why aren't you doing that? And again, our money's combined in our one account. She's like, because I feel like we got to, like, pay bills and things. I'm like, well, that hasn't stopped me from playing hockey. I'm still doing things I like and enjoy. I encourage her to do things she enjoys. She's just not doing them. That's where this conversation came from. So at the end of it, I looked at her and said, why can't, like, we have a home, right? And look at all, like, we have our businesses with this home, and it provides protection, yeah, from the elements, but it also creates a place of safety for us. It's fun. We have a lot of fun here, right? Enjoyment. It's a place we love. So is that responsibility or is that fun? I said, I wouldn't put it, you could make it fun money. Why can't all your money be fun money? Why did you have to put it like, why do you have to put this expectation on it that has to be responsible? Now you're buying into an old story that somebody told you. So no matter how you look at it, right, we continue to live life by money stories. We have in our brains that things have to be a certain way, that the labels and constructs that have been put on us are the only way things can be. But here's the other side of that, right? Like, where are you at? Are you where you want to be financially? Are you where you actually want to be in how you grow your business? And my guess is probably no. You're probably working towards that, and that's really cool. But if that's the case, and you continue to live by these old constructs and rules, and they haven't gotten you where you want to go, why are you still following them? Well, most of us still follow them because it's gotten us to where we are, and then if we just work harder, we can get there. And that's not true. That's the illusion. It's fake. Okay? We can't keep doing what we have been doing to get where we want to go. I know I've said that a lot of times. I'm going to keep saying it. It just doesn't make sense. So I want you to challenge what expectation you have on money. Find out what you really want it to be. What brings you joy? What kind of friendship do you want to have with it? Because that's really important. At the end of our conversation today, Debbie's like, I don't know, right? When I asked her the question of why can't all your money be fun money? In her construct, in her definition of that, at least get her somewhere moving forward. And she's like, I don't know. We need to keep having this conversation. She didn't know. So we'll keep having that conversation. So if you're where you're at and you don't know what the opposite is and to be more fun, call it out. Put it in the comments. Send me an email. I'm always happy to have a conversation. But if you continue to live by the expectation, then the money's going to continue to serve you as the place you put it in. It could do way bigger things for you, but you've relegated it to a role and you've expected it to be there in that role. And it's showing up in that role. Love it, hate it, it is showing up for you. So it's time for you to reevaluate that label you've put on it. And it's time to change that. So this week, it's really kind of dig in. Figure out what expectation you put on your money, and it's time to change it. Rewrite that story. Give it a different role if you have to. I'd say don't give it any role. It should just be a friend and let it show up like that. And maybe it is. Maybe you have labeled it friend and you're like, it still isn't working. Then it's time to redefine what you think of friendship. Because money's there, it's willing, it's waiting. You can get really good results if you put in a little bit of work and you figure out, one, what's going on with you, and two, continue to connect with people. If you do those two things, you can make a lot of money. But what happens is we usually get in our own way. We stop, we stutter, we stop moving. We stop asking the questions that will help move us forward and just start doing something to feel like we're productive. And that's where we get caught. So don't do that. Ask yourself questions I asked, right? Figure out what it is, and it will help shift that perspective so you can start seeing money in a different light. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. What came up for you? I'm always fascinated to see. So until next week, we'll catch you later. Bye.